it's a perfect fragrance. Really beautiful. Not for me. Hey everyone, I'm Allee-Sutton. If it is your first time here, welcome. And if you are one of our older friends, welcome back. No matter what, I am so glad you're here. So obviously, if you clicked into the video, you know what we're up to today. We are reviewing 2 new fragrances from Fulton and Roark. Fulton and Roark is a company that I absolutely love. I've reviewed their company and their fragrances here on the channel before, but just to recap, what makes them special in my mind is that 1, they are an American fine fragrance company. 2, they use the best ingredients in the world, and they take care to source these ingredients responsibly, safely, and ethically. And then they work with the top perfumers in the world, including a perfumer who is my personal favorite that made one of the fragrances we are going to be discussing today. And then the customer service. I know that shopping for fragrances online can be difficult. If you're watching this review, then I'm assuming you understand the value in hearing other people discuss perfumes and review them. But maybe you watch a review and you decide you want to try a fragrance from Fulton and Roark. If you order an EDP, it comes with a little sample. You can try that sample, and if you don't like it, you can ship it back. No worries. If you try something that you don't love, they will exchange it for you or send you a refund, which I think is a really good practice. But they also are in some physical brick and mortar locations that you can find online in case you want to go give these a try for yourself. Before we get started, I have to have 3 caveats on this video. Unfortunately, it seems like every time I share one of these videos, it kind of brings on a deluge of really mean and negative comments. Sometimes it's things that are bizarre or totally outside the lines, like picking apart my appearance, but oftentimes it's about things that I want to discuss here today. Number 1, Fulton and Roark sent me these fragrances. I am working with Fulton and Roark, and while I don't make money from working with them, I do get products in exchange for reviews. However, my one condition in any agreement that I do with a company is that I'm not obligated to give anything but honest feedback to my audience, because you all are my priority. So the only obligation I have is to share my honest thoughts. I want to thank you guys for making that possible. Obviously, this is a real privilege, and I only get to do this because lovely people like you all watch and support. So thank you. Fragrance is personal. Now, in my review, I'm going to do my level best to give you objective information about the fragrance itself. The notes, what those notes smell like individually, how they work together, but then all I can give you is my experience, and what I like might not be what you like, and that's okay. It's actually a really wonderful thing, because then we all get to experience what we love and celebrate our differences. And last but certainly not least, I'm going to do my level best to pronounce everything correctly. However, sometimes in the fragrance world, and I'm still new and learning and trying my best, there's things that are really difficult to pronounce. I'm going to do my best, and if I fall short of that, I just ask that you react with kindness and treat it like you would your friend or family member who is doing the same. I hate having to do that, but I really felt it was necessary. Now that that's done, I feel like I can breathe, which is good, because we need to get into this. I'm so thrilled that Fulton and Roark released 2 new fragrances in the fall of 2024 that we are getting to review right here at the beginning of 2025, beginning with this fragrance, The Window. Now, this is from perfumer Linda Song, and all of Fulton and Roark's fragrances are inspired by a specific place, and they're meant to evoke the feeling of experiencing that place in all of its beauty. This particular fragrance was inspired by a hike through Ventana Canyon in Arizona. The Window is a scent inspired by the art of noticing beauty around you. Like the trail, the fragrance reveals itself gradually. The Window is complex and contemplative. So that's the really beautiful description of this fragrance. I've not smelled this one yet, and I want to break down the fragrance a little bit more before we do our first impression. A top note is when you first spray on a perfume, the thing that meets you. That is pink pepper, lavender, and desert air. So right at the beginning, I would categorize these top notes as both herbaceous and aromatic. So pink pepper is sharp, it's spicy, with a fresh and aromatic kind of characteristic. So it's softer and woodier and has more kind of effervescence than traditional pepper that you might have in your kitchen. Next is lavender. Now, if you're thinking it sounds like lavender, yes, it's part of the same family, but this is a more fresh, herbaceous scent with camphorous undertones, and it has that lavender floral kind of note, but it's sharper and it's more intense than traditional normal lavender. And our last little bit of this top note symphony is desert air. Now, I looked up the description on Fulton and Roark's website, and it says this is a dry, expansive scent with subtle mineral notes and traces of aromatic desert plants. So that to me is really exciting because that sounds like it opens in a way that's very fresh. That's what I want to say. It's a very fresh, kind of clean opening. Desert air and lavender, traditionally I'm thinking fresh, and the pepper is a little bit poppy spice. So something really interesting at the beginning. Let's see when we experience it if we catch all of that. The middle notes, we have gravel ghost, desert florals, and lang lang. So all together, these in the middle are giving me a non-traditional floral vibe. Now, I didn't know anything about gravel ghost. I've never smelled it in person, so I looked up a description, and it says it's delicate and ethereal with subtle floral notes combined with an earthy, slightly herbal aroma that hints at the rugged, arid environments where it grows. Desert florals are described as a combination of blooms featuring hints of earthy sweetness and subtle spice. And I traditionally think of desert flowers as being a non-traditional floral because they're not going to give us that same kind of staunch thing that we might think about when we think about the smell of a rose, right? A very traditional floral. Desert flowers, I think, are going to be a bit softer, a bit more muted, a little bit more earthy. And then finally, we have the lang lang, which is rich, deep, and bright. It has hints of jasmine and neroli, clean, a little citrusy. It's deep in its fruity floral scent. I personally love lang lang. And then the base notes. This is the heart of the perfume. What is going to be there for the longest? What's left on your skin hours later? Especially, this is an extruded parfum, so a really high concentration of perfume oil in this product. This is meant to last. In my experience, I have really good wear time with Fulton and Roark. These don't feel like they take over a room, but they're not overly skin close either, and a little bit of a sillage. I feel like oftentimes with other fragrances like Calle Ocho for Fulton and Roark, for example, I can leave a room and people will still smell Calle Ocho after I've left. So I feel like they're pretty powerful without being overpowering. I think Fulton and Roark is really good at that. Base notes of this, I think, are going to give us some really woody and animalic qualities. We've got desert ironwood. Now, this is a smoky, woody kind of nuanced, leathery, resin, deep, warm aroma that we're going to get. We've got leathered woods as a base note. So again, luxurious, rich, deep, smoky, animalic aged leather. It says leathered wood, so I'm thinking we're going to get the best of both worlds, something very mellow and deep. Then the last base note is saffron. I just got back from a fabulous trip where I got to have Iranian saffron every single day, and the fragrance is unbelievable. It's aromatic, it has delicate floral notes, a little bit of honey type sweetness, and a really kind of rich earthy undertone. A wonderful taste. I've been putting it in my tea, we've made rice, everything. I love saffron, and I think as a base note it's going to be magical. So let's do this. Let's do a first impression of the window. I have no idea what to expect. Wow. Okay. So my first impression of this fragrance, it is beautiful. It's very masculine. Immediately, I can say that for me personally, this is more masculine than I'm able to carry. But if that is something that you can pull off, it's beautiful. The pink pepper at the beginning is really poppy. It's not overly sharp, but it's there. It's very present in that lavender. It's clean at the opening. This does, if I close my eyes and smell this does feel like warm, dry desert air. I feel like those florals in the middle, they are very non-traditional. They're giving me some kind of adding something that's a little bit more delicate. That's why I say it's more masculine than I can carry because there is feminine presence in this fragrance. With that lang lang, it's brightening it up in the middle. Whereas the top notes really pop out. I can tell, and they're present and spicy and punchy. There is something though that's still bright. and airy in the middle, but I think that those base notes, I'm warming it on my skin to try and get it to settle in a bit, so maybe we could get to those base notes together faster. Yeah, I totally get that rich smokiness of the woods, those leathers in the base. This is really interesting. I've never smelled anything like this. Too masculine for me, but if I were to be around a man who was wearing this fragrance, I would absolutely love it. Beautiful. Really beautiful. Really very nice. Is very complex. I think they did an excellent job of capturing the feeling of being somewhere like Arizona. This makes me think about the time I was working on a Western film, and this totally takes me back there, being around a lot of those kind of desert florals, the wind, the air, the leather that we had because we were doing a Western. So lots of leather. Yeah, that's taking me back. Wow. Really beautiful. Not for me, but an excellent fragrance. Next up, we have what I believe will be the next big thing on the market. It's no secret that Calle Ocho made a huge splash with Fulton and Roark, but what I have here is incredibly special. This is Roark'S Cove from Fulton and Roark. Now, this was done by my personal favorite perfumer, Frank Vocal. Frank is a superstar of the fragrance world. He has brought you some of the most famous fragrances of our lifetime for brands like Le Labo, Dolce & Gabbana, Marc Jacobs, Glossier, so many more celebrities and designers. Frank is the nose and the mind behind some of the most iconic fragrances of our lifetime. So when I found out that he was working with Fulton and Roark again on Roark'S Cove, I was thrilled, and that excitement was taken to another level when I realized that Roark'S Cove was actually inspired by my home state of Tennessee. Roark'S Cove is a pretty well-known area in the state of Tennessee, and this fragrance is meant to evoke the feeling of riding your bike through Roark'S Cove. And they have a beautiful description that I want to share with you all. Roark'S Cove may be the perfect place to ride a bike. It's a place where you can enjoy every moment of the ride. The smell of lush forest surrounding you, the sensation of leaning into the curves of the road and listening to your tires on the concrete humming along with the birds in the trees. The elevation offers a challenge, but the green canopy above provides plenty of shade in the summer. Meanwhile, the gentle sounds of the creek as you pass by, combined with the verdant scene of the surrounding forest, offer a sense of calm to complement your efforts. Our homage to the peace that a great ride can bring opens with bright notes of fresh bergamot, lavender, pear leaves, and the juicy scent of cloudberries intermingled with pink pepper and citrus zest. Rich notes of tonka bean and fresh oak wood combine with cedar and tree moss to create a smooth and luxurious dry down for this idyllic year-round scent. I can't lie to you guys. As soon as this got here, I immediately tried it on, and I have worn it every day since because it is so beautiful. It is so beautiful that I sent a letter to Frank Vocal thanking him for making something so beautiful that I felt truly captured what so many people overlook in Tennessee. And he wrote me a lovely letter back. I'm a massive and forever fan, but let's get into what makes this so incredibly special, starting with our top notes. So again, the thing that we're going to experience and smell first, our first impression, but also the thing that's going to die away the quickest. So our top notes, we have bergamot, cloudberry, and pink pepper. If you're not familiar with bergamot, it's a citrus. It's bright, it's fresh, it's a little bit floral. It's really commonly used in perfumery to add zest and kind of an aromatic touch. I always love bergamot as a note just because it's very clean and very easy. Next up is cloudberry. Now, I didn't know what cloudberry was at all, but it is a bright, tart, kind of sweet berry with a hint of muskiness. So when you smell this, you're supposed to experience something that's fresh, dewy, fruity, subtle, with little hint of wild floral aroma. And the last top note is pink pepper, which we discussed in the window. So this is sharp, spicy, but not like a traditional pepper that you would have in the kitchen. It's softer, woodier, and a little bit more effervescent. Then we move on to the mid notes. Now here we have oak, verbena, and lavender. And this is when I really and truly want to applaud Frank and Fulton and Roark, because, and this is what I said to them in my letter, these are things that I grew up with. My grandmother, my mother, my father, I come from a very rural area. My mom has always grown verbena and lavender. We have oak trees everywhere here. And these are scents that I know and love from growing up that do remind me of home. If you're not familiar with them, oak is really rich. It's smooth and it's woody, but it has hints of vanilla, light smokiness. So it's a really beautiful smelling wood. Verbena it's crisp and it's citrusy. So I think it's going to play really nicely with that bergamot from earlier. So it's bright, it's green, it's fresh. I love verbena and it's absolutely beautiful in a garden. Then of course lavender. I think that most everybody has smelled lavender at some point in their lives, but it's fresh, it's aromatic, it's herbaceous, it's floral, it's a little bit fruity, it's clean. I love lavender. And then for base notes, we have cedarwood, tree moss, and amberwoods. Also, again, you're going to get a lot of cedarwood in Tennessee. I grew up with cedars everywhere, all around, anywhere I lived. So it's woody, it's dry. When you smell cedar, it smells like what you think of when you smell a lead pencil, which I really love. Now, tree moss, also tons of tree moss here. I actually have live moss in my house that I keep as a plant that I love the smell of. Anytime I spritz it with water, it becomes very aromatic and it smells delicious. It's complex, it's earthy, it's damp, it's smoky and green. It's beautiful. It's just very natural. And then last, amber woods. Now, amber is an accord that's warm, resinous. It's a little bit spicy and sweet. Amber is my favorite. I love amber-based fragrances. This has Frank written all over it. It just does. It's amazing. I'm gonna spray it. It's so beautiful. It opens up clean, citrusy green right when it meets you. It's bright, it's beautiful, it's a little bit sweet without being saccharine. It has that little pop of pink pepper that perfectly balances what I'm experiencing with the bergamot and the cloudberry. So it's anchored. It's not the gourmand's not running away, right? And then I think it's really rooted by these woods and moss that we have that in the dry down come alive. The verbena and lavender are present, but all of these are married together for something that's so beautiful and unique. I do agree that this is a seasonally agnostic fragrance. Amber and the moss and the cedarwood base make it warm and deep enough that you can wear this in the winter, but everything else adds this really nice, fresh, bright, puppy, sweet, beautiful symphony that just carry it for any time through warm weather, day or night. I love this so much. I'm overwhelmed by the beauty of this fragrance. This is my new personal favorite. It's gorgeous. Frank and Fulton and Roark truly outdid themselves with Roark'S Cove. I do believe it's going to be the next big thing. I think it's the next Calle Ocho. It's phenomenal. It's clean, but it's grounded. It's not too light. It's not too heavy. It's not too sweet. It's a perfect fragrance. If you guys smell these, let me know what you think. Thank you for taking the time to watch. I love you all so much, and I can't wait to see you next time. Bye!